This is Greenwich Park in London, the country's oldest royal parkland. Henry VIII was born here, Queen Elizabeth I played in its gardens. It's home to the old Royal Observatory and the Meridian Line. All of time and space is measured from here. Early in the first millennium, the Romans were on this very spot. Underneath this mound, which is the last high ground before London, there is a Roman building. Problem is, we don't know exactly what it is. Earlier archaeology suggests that it might be a villa or a temple or even some kind of fort. Time Team want to establish what it is and what it can tell us about Roman London. And as usual, we've got just 3 days to do it. Harvey, Headley, not the best Roman exhibit I've ever seen.
It's a great shame. You come to Greenwich Park and on all the maps it says, come and see the Roman site, and you struggle over here and what you find are these sad little railings protecting about 3 tessera. The key thing is we don't know what this site is, and it's at such an important point in Roman London. You know, we've been digging bits of the city of Roman London for 500 years. We hardly know anything about Greater London in the Roman period, so whatever's going on here is hugely important in our understanding of Roman Greater London.
Would any Roman roads have run past here?
Watling Street, the principal route into the country from essentially the Kent ports. We're very close to it. It's probably realigned here, but close to roads you may get all manner of roadside stations. If we can reveal whether there are other buildings here, other associated features, we might get a clue as to how this high ground, just before you plunge really into the Ravensbourne Valley and then into London, was used.
As nothing could be done until the railings were removed, the team chose to discuss a plan of action over breakfast in the park. Mick, I understand there's a bit of doubt about precisely what's here.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a Roman temple, it could be a Roman villa, it could be something military, it could be any period during Roman times, and of course it could be something that was a mixture of those different functions as well.
I think the best clue we're going to get is going to be from the whole plan, because villas and temples and forts all have different, quite distinctive layouts. So I think if we get, and the earlier excavations in 1902 wouldn't have had geophysics, so if we can get some of that done, that should give us a plan.
Yes, but we're going to have to get a shot of the railings first, because they're certainly in the way.
What are you going to be doing, Stuart?
Well, I think we've got to bear in mind that this is one of the finest 17th century gardens in England we're in at the moment, and I'll be looking at the impact that might have had on the survival of the Roman landscape, things that were here before it, things that were after it that might affect it.
Robin, do we know much about the earlier archaeological digs?
They were carried out in 1902 and 1903. Even though they were published in glorious things like the Home and Counties magazine, it's not exactly, you know, the scientific archaeological acme of achievement. But I'll do my best.
Well, the one thing we do know that we got is the mound, and we don't really know what's underneath it. So I think the sooner we get a trench in it, the better it's going to be for all of us.
Get cracking, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
now.
2 minutes?
No, like now.
No.
Picnic over, the serious work begins. These railings were put here following the discovery and excavation of the site in 1902. And if a site has been dug before, step 1, find out what they discovered. In our incident room in a nearby school, Robin and Guy de la Bedouillere begin sifting through the records of previous archaeology.
So we've got the 2 accounts by A.D. Webster and Herbert Jones, but both of them seem to be, well, relatively superficial in terms of the actual dig, although I think you were saying that they're rather better on the finds.
Well, there's a pretty good finds list we've got here. We've got this detailed account with the inscriptions that they located, various bits of pottery, and then over here, a very good list of the coins, all with great detail. Our problem is tying these coins into the physical remains of the site, because that's where they fall down. It's almost impossible to identify the trenches or exactly where these things came from. They just haven't mentioned that at all.
There's a lovely quote here from Beryl Platts
Yeah.
commenting on the excavations. It's obvious from the tone of the two stories that each thought the other was making the correct archaeological notes that were essential. It's almost hilarious. The right hand clearly didn't know what the left hand was doing. It gets even worse, though, because I've got a
So
list
with all this confusion from the antiquarian digs, we're going to be even more dependent on any evidence that might be in our trenches. From a photograph taken in 1902, Stuart's trying to place the location of one of the Webster and Jones trenches. If we don't know what came up from where, it would at least help to know if an area had been dug over.
Can you see on this photograph, this is the only photograph that seems to exist of these 1902-1903 excavations.
Right, now there were 3 trenches then, weren't there? And this is the only one for which we can have any idea where it was at all.
I think that's right, yeah. If you look on here, that tree there...
Oh, is that one there?
That's
Yeah.
with a twist, that's it. And there's one there with a very strong lean to the left, which is
Yeah.
that chestnut there. You can see the wall in the background. And that house there is just visible through the trees. So I think the photograph must have been taken from more or less where we stood now, looking in that direction.
Well, that looks about right on the ground, doesn't it? Because there's this sort of rise up here, and then this looks like the backfilled trench to
That's
me.
right. Oh, you're stood more or less where the lady in the photograph is at the moment.
Yes. I mean, I think, being as we don't know what was in this trench, and we're only fairly confident it was here, and there are the other 2 that we don't know where they are, I think if we just put this on the map and say we think it was here and wait for the geophysics results to come in and then make up our minds where to put our trenches.
That sounds good, yeah.
So, well done for getting that located.
With the railings gone, geophysics begin a magnetometer survey to see what's under the ground by detecting small changes in the Earth's magnetic field. Some dry weather and a large crane have given us our first big clue.
John, Chris, do you want to come have a look at this? These are the pictures taken from the crane platform this morning of the parch marks. And it seems to me we've got some sort of, I don't know, rectangular enclosure in here. How does that square up with what you're getting from the geophysics?
Well, we're actually having real problems now.
Yeah.
When we started, it wasn't too bad, but it's just drying out so quickly.
Right, yeah.
We're seeing no contrasts.
Yeah.
So we've got a partial picture of your enclosure, as you're calling it.
Yeah.
What we have got is this high resistance response in here, which coincides with that. And you can see it clearly on the ground.
That's that patch over there, is it?
I think that if our aim here is to try and identify what that Roman building is, we should be going for the enclosure, because that big rectangular enclosure would be very characteristic of a Roman temple, temenos boundary.
I mean, if we actually have a regular rectangular enclosure, particularly if the corners are rounded, that could lead perhaps even to some sort of a military interpretation.
Isn't it too small?
It could
It's
be.
too
It
small
depends
for a
what's in
fort,
it. Yeah, but not for a fortlet or for a watchtower.
Well, let's go for this side initially
First, yeah.
and get something across here.
And I'm going to pray for rain.
Right, don't do that.
You'll be the only one who is.
The team think this could be some kind of enclosure, possibly the terminus boundary of a temple or the outer wall of a fort. Mick decides to put the second trench right across it. While Carenza opens Trench 2 and sets about looking for a boundary wall, in Trench 1 on the mound, Phil and his team have removed the railings and are whacking down into the subsoil. Meanwhile, Robin delivers the bad news on the 1902 dig.
But they disagreed about how the trenches were labelled. They disagreed about where the trenches were put in, so that we can't actually pinpoint them. And generally speaking, we don't have a definitive account of those excavations in 1902 and 1903, even though obviously the finds list is detailed.
Yeah.
There's no indication of where they came from or from what level.
Right.
So what did they actually pull out?
Well, 400 coins, quite a high number, and many of them showing very little signs of wear, plus bits of statuary, obviously, pottery of every description.
That's all pretty general stuff, isn't it? What do we need in order to be able to ascertain exactly what that building was used for?
Well, that's the problem, really. What's actually specific or diagnostic of a particular type of building, or what that's the stuff you get generally, you know, the non-specific stuff you get in all sites.
It's not just the finds, it's the shape of the thing as well.
Yeah.
If you get a square set within a square or a polygon within a polygon, then you'll have the traditional ambulatory and Keller, which you might expect on a Romano Celtic temple.
And what would we need to determine that it was a fort?
I suppose if it was a fort, we'd need early material in this area, wouldn't we? We'd need early pottery and...
Well, structurally, if it was a fort, you ought to get timber barracks type buildings, and you ought to get the conventional enclosure.
The playing card shaped fort,
absolutely.
hadn't we?
And a villa?
Well, you get hypercourse, you get obviously wall plaster. Yeah. You get tessellated pavements, but of course you could get those in the temple as well.
Indeed.
What else can we do?
I suspect we need to re-look at the finds as well. I mean, it's people often say, why do we keep loads of finds in museums? They clog museums up. But the answer is because every so often you need to reappraise something. You need to go through it and look at it again. My guess is when Harvey sees all that stuff, pennies might drop.
So it's like the coppers in a Hollywood movie. It's back to the early evidence.
Yeah, yeah.
Only a foot or so down on the mound, we're starting to come up with evidence of our own.
Oops, oh, that's lovely. That's a little Roman silver denarius you've got there.
I mean, who is it? What date is it, do you reckon?
It's the Emperor Vespasian. I recognise the face straight away. And he reigned from the year 69 to 79 AD. And if you look round here at the bottom, Phil, you can see Cos, C-O-S, which is a consulship.
That's round there,
That's right. And then you can see 4 1s just after it.
Yeah.
That means the year of his 4th consulship, which was in around the year 72 AD. So that gives us an exact date for when this coin was struck in Rome.
To a Roman, what's its value? I mean, is it the sort of thing you'd lose?
Well, the time it was struck, a Roman soldier was paid 225 of those a year. So think of it as being about a day and a half's pay.
That's a lot of work, isn't it?
By our standards, anyway, yes. Well, if you dropped a £20 note, how long would you spend looking for it?
Yeah, quite a long... I would spend quite a long time, yeah.
Although finds are coming up on the mound, one large trench there is quite enough to keep Phil busy. Mick's looking at putting the 3rd trench in the area to the south, which they think might be some sort of wall surrounding a building complex.
So that's where it's going, is it?
This is where we've laid it out.
And that's based on the geophysics you did earlier?
Yeah, this is where we thought we might have a structure.
Yeah.
You know, in the corner of this bigger enclosure.
So where's it likely to be then? Are we looking at green patches or white patches?
Both. I mean, what I think we want to do is, this is a potential wall or gravel path. There,
or gravel surface.
where you've got the dark brown.
But the grass is not growing on it because it's hard underneath.
Yeah, there's a lack of water.
Yeah.
Whereas here, the green grass,
yeah,
and that's where we're getting some of the archaeology coming from in the 1st trench.
Right.
And then again, we're on to the parched area.
Okay.
So have we got gravel? Have we got wall? Have we got a gap? And then have we got another wall or more gravel? So our thought was to put the trench over here.
Across to,
to here initially.
That sounds good.
You've got the option of extending
Well,
if it does turn out to be archaeological.
Okay, well, we can get going then. Start the trench.
So Mick's decided that Trench 3 should be put across the east side of what they believe to be some sort of enclosure. Who needs expensive geophysics equipment? Just dig on the dry bits. Up on the mound, the finds keep coming.
Hey, got another one.
Another one.
When's that? Is that coming out of the trench?
Let's have a quick look. That's a bit grubby.
It is.
You got a brush or anything,
Yeah.
Phil? Hang on, let's just dampen it very slightly. We'll be very careful because the surface might not be stable. So we'll take it very, very carefully.
Give it a bit
Very light brush, just to get the loose earth off the surface. You see the face coming up there?
Oh,
Do you see that radiate crown there?
Oh, God,
Yeah, and that's a very distinctive feature of a coin struck in the late part of the 3rd century AD. See, quite a distinctive portrait, and the letters around the edge. It says Claudius, and he reigned from 268 to 270.
Can I have a look at it?
Yeah, sure.
I mean, it seems to be very badly struck. I mean, it's a very oval.
It is. It's a time when coin production was crude and not high quality. Compare that to the silver one we've just used. Although that was worn, that was a nicely struck, good metal coin. Now we're talking about a period 200 years later. Inflation has gone through the roof. They don't really have silver coins any longer. This actually is a type of coin that used to be struck in silver. But by the time we get to this coin, they're just churning them out in bronze.
Just banging them out. And their value is presumably correspondingly lower.
Absolutely, absolutely. So
Well,
that's-
we're getting a good old spread,
we
aren't
are.
we?
Yeah, we're running right through the whole period.
End of day one, and we've got this fascinating collection of Roman coins that have come up in the last couple of hours. They cover the entire span of the Roman occupation, and they're all in puzzlingly good condition, as though something really rather special was going on here. We've started to dig down a bit deeper. We've got already what we think may be the outline of a Roman wall. Let's hope tomorrow we can come up with a building that's at least half as good as the one on this Roman coin. This is a Roman fort.
It's Pete Flynn in the morning, Millennium 106.8 FM, and without further ado, let's cross over live and join John Lucas at Greenwich Park.
Tell us a little bit about why you're here and what the dig's all about.
It's the beginning of our day two. Yesterday we had a fantastic day. We got an amazing collection of Roman coins from off that mound in surprisingly good nick. But today what we want to do is actually get down into the building here, work out what it is, both from what we find here and from the shape of the building. And also, if it was a temple or if it was a fort, then presumably there'd be a lot of ancillary buildings all around it. So we're going to look further into the park, because if we can find out what those buildings are, then that's going to give us a really big clue as to what we've got under the big mound in the middle.
Right, well, good luck with it.
Thanks a lot. Trench 3 was put in over what was thought to be some kind of boundary wall. And just a few inches below the surface, Carenza begins uncovering what looks like a wall. But at this stage, we don't know if it's Roman. It's absurd. All of us keep coming in and out of this park gate, although, as you can see, it kind of stops here. This orange mark is where Harvey thinks a Roman wall was, and he thinks it goes this way here, which is why we've put this trench in to see if we can find that wall. This is the first trench that we dug. Phil?
Yeah.
I've seen better holes on Badger Watch. What are you doing?
What do you mean? You're very rude. Look, this one actually I'm standing in is a tree hole. This is where one of these big elms once stood. You can see the roots disappearing in, but it's dead easy digging. It's all disturbed. We can take it all out. We've had post-medieval finds in it, so we're not destroying any archaeology.
But what's it telling us?
It's nothing yet.
Top trench.
Yeah, give us time. I've got to clean it up.
In the area we suspect to have been some sort of building complex, the second trench has thrown up some painted wall plaster.
Those two bits go together there. They do, don't they? Oh yeah, there we are. Look. Gosh, that looks like it's part of the detailed design inside the border, doesn't it? And that dark red presumably is a bit of the border. Oh, you've got more red there. Yeah, we're getting an awful lot of this wall plaster now, aren't we? Chris, we've got some fragments of plaster from the trench now, which are showing us that we did have painted plaster walls in our buildings.
Yeah.
But how did they actually do them?
Well, first of all, you have to plaster the wall. So whatever you've
Right.
got underneath, whether it's wattle or whether it's stonework, you've got to put a thick layer of plaster on to level up the wall. And with coarse sand, this has got coarse sand and goat hair in it.
Oh, right.
So that makes it strong.
Holds it together.
Yeah. And then we've got another layer which has got a finer sand in it. That's a sort of middle layer. And for Victor's bit where he's going to paint the figure tomorrow, we've got marble dust. So it'll give us a really fine...
sort of perfect surface.
Yeah, perfect
for the,
surface, you know, for the master to paint on.
So, oh wow, gosh. Look at these. Are these from London as well?
Yes, they're from the Museum of London collections from different sites.
Oh, they're beautiful. The face on that and the detail. Wow. I mean, actually, the colours aren't that different, are they? That's
No,
red
the
is
same,
quite
the same
similar
basic
there,
colours. Most of the colours they used were earth colours. So you've got, this is a sort of red ochre colour here.
Right.
And you've got yellow ochre. The best yellow ochre was from Greece, and it was called Attic slime.
Doesn't sound very appetising, does it?
No, there's this bag of red, cinnabar red. If it was real cinnabar red, would have cost £500.
What, for us?
For us,
today?
yes.
Gosh,
yes.
wow.
We were going to buy some, but we
couldn't afford it.
No,
right.
absolutely not. You weren't rich enough patrons. But we know it was used in London because here is a fragment of a pot which had some mixing
gosh.
with some cinnabar red in it.
Wow, isn't that amazing? It's still there.
Yeah.
One of the other mysteries we're hoping to unravel concerns the route of Watling Street, the Roman supply road that ran from the Kent ports to Hadrian's Wall.
Well, we know Watling Street runs up the line of the A2.
Yeah.
And we know where it goes to in London City itself.
Yeah.
But nobody's got any idea where it goes through Greenwich Park.
Looking from here, you can see the Barrow Cemetery down there, can't you?
Yeah.
And it's quite clear that the whole park is actually a sort of time capsule of different earthworks at different periods.
Well, if it survived from the Anglo-Saxon period, the chances are a Roman road survived as well.
The current thinking is that Watling Street came up what's now the A2, over the high ground of Blackheath and onto London. Stuart has a theory that it may have taken a different route through the park, bringing it much closer to our site.
Carenza,
Oh, hi there.
this is the wall then, is it?
Yes, doesn't it look lovely?
That's
We've cleaned it up.
Brilliant. That
It's
is,
excellent.
isn't it?
It's
Yeah.
definitely Roman.
It's definitely.
Yep. There's a bit of, see the bit of black burnished wear over there?
Oh, yeah.
Jammed up against that side.
Ah, yes, yeah.
And in bits of the cut for it here, we found Roman pottery here, so we're pretty confident it is Roman. But what's really nice, you see this layer here?
It's concrete, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's Roman concrete. It butts up against this wall.
Good, no?
We don't know whether it's inside or outside, but it's
Yeah.
some kind of pebble-dash pathway.
That's good, isn't it?
It may be something to do with the outside, the surroundings
Yeah.
of the house, the gardens, the path around it.
Yeah, and lots of pottery with it, is there? I've
Yes,
seen
we've had a
lots
lot.
of stuff in here. And,
Yeah, oh, that's just a
yeah.
tiny fraction.
Yeah.
And it's all domestic as
Yeah,
well.
well,
And
that's
there's a
very
much
good,
more,
isn't it?
There's a much more normal spread of finds from a normal sort of
yeah,
domestic
no-
residence.
Trench 3 has a Roman wall running towards the building on the mound, and in Trench 2, Ian is digging down into what appears to be the foundation trench of a wall, again heading towards the mound.
You're working much too hard, Ian.
Yep.
How's it going?
Oh, not too badly. I've got lots of Samian work coming out.
That's fantastic. Right, well, this has got some pretty distinctive motif here. And you see the little wavy line?
Underneath.
Yeah, which suggests to me that we've got something from the early part of the 2nd century AD.
This bowl was probably imported from central France and would have been part of the tableware of a smart house. The nature of the finds, the quality of the pottery, decorated wall plaster, etc., suggests the buildings were high status.
Come on then, chaps. Sit round.
The team were hoping to learn more about our site by reanalysing the finds from the 1902 excavation, only to find that nearly all of them have disappeared.
So, this is the earlier excavation material.
Well, even you should be able to read. It says Greenwich Borough Museum, and this is, as you so rightly observed, the
Roman polythene.
the finds from the 1902-3 excavation.
Oh, so that's that sculpture then.
We've got a piece of statuary here. I think you can see, Mick, this lovely piece of arm statuary here. You see the female arm round here, drapery over the top, and I think if you look round here, Mick,
it's
you'll
still
see
got bits of
something.
paint left on it.
That's right.
Is that unusual?
I think it's important to remember that in ancient times, in fact right up to the Middle Ages, most statues were gaudily painted, bright colours. We get a completely false impression from, you know, bare stone statues. But it's a really unusual find for Roman Britain anyway.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Trouble is, it doesn't tell us a great deal more about the
No,
site,
it's not
unfortunately.
really, it's a non-diagnostic thing, isn't it?
No, that's right.
Could have come from out.
Well, we have got a couple of things which are much more exciting over here, but I'm afraid there's a little bit of a catch.
Yeah.
We've got the two inscriptions.
Oh, well, that looks like a cast.
Well, that's the problem. It's turned out with all the ramifications going on with the First World War and the Second World War, the original inscriptions from this site, no one's exactly sure precisely where they are. This one is supposed to have been made of marble.
Yeah.
Little tablet there with lettering. Unfortunately, can't make head or tail of such small numbers.
Well, it's a very interesting one because it's very, very close in its style, I think, to one of the most important epigraphic discoveries of recent years, which was from Southwark in a 3rd century building, which seemed to be a list of serving soldiers within cohorts of a legion.
Well, it's particularly interesting you mentioned the military side there, because this thing is of a style associated with an awful lot of military sites in Britain, many of which are of a religious nature, but what we'd normally expect to find further north. There are very few inscriptions ever found in Britain in this part of the country. Like so much of this evidence, it tells you enough to think you're really excited, but there's no certainty in it.
So we're halfway through our excavation, and despite our reanalysis of the 1902 finds and the discovery of a domestic settlement by the mound and lots of coins, pottery and painted wall plaster, our mystery building could still be a fort, villa or temple. And in the trench on the mound, Phil and Mick are burying their heads in the sand.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, is that plaster or
Yeah,
something?
bits of mortar in, look.
Yeah.
And there's bits of tile and God knows what else in there. What is happening is that we must have a feature that's running this way across the trench.
Yeah.
We've got a feature in here, you see, which has also got yet more mortar and bits of tile. So there's something cut into there.
Yeah.
That's got to go out. And then there's this enormous layer of build-up through there. That's all got to come off.
Yeah.
But by then, that stage, we should get ourselves down to this level, and that feature should be visible cut into this.
The feature Phil's so excited about is the first sign of the foundation trench of a large wall. Our first evidence of the structure on the mound. How many times do you reckon you've been past this site in your working life?
Well, probably hundreds of times over the last couple of years.
Are local people aware that this is Roman?
The regulars in the park are aware it's Roman, and one of the big drawbacks for tourists is they don't actually know what it is when they get here. But there are a number of occasions people come up to me and ask me the directions for the Roman remains, and I point out to them they're going to be a little bit disappointed when they get there. It's 5 house bricks, a bit of mortar and a green fence.
Well, hopefully we can alter that.
Well, I certainly hope so.
How do you feel about seeing it all ripped and torn apart like that?
Well, for me personally, this is like a dream come true to see something like this happening. This is absolutely fantastic.
Do you fancy getting in the trench yourself?
Yeah, you lead me to the trench, give me a trowel and I'll give you a hand.
Before the end of tomorrow?
Before the end of tomorrow, definitely.
Okay. We do seem to have found an incredibly large number of coins for such a small size.
We have, and in fact, I've only brought a few over here because we've got so many.
Oh, and what can you tell about them?
Well, we've got the Roman period running right the way through from the year 43, just before 100. We've got Romans in Britain for 4 centuries, like that. We've got our silver coin that we found yesterday, right back from the year 72. We've got another coin from the 2nd century, and some pottery filling out the story there as well. We've got coins from the 3rd century, and coins from the 4th century taking us right up almost to the end of the Roman occupation.
But we've got many more in the later years. Does that mean that it would have become a more populated site in the later years?
Well, you might think that, but people now know that Roman coin supply really varied. So coins in the earlier period are much less common on a normal site than they are later on, when the coin supply became much greater as the individual coins became worth less and less and less. So we now know that this looks like a picture that maps out a fairly continuous period of Roman occupation from the beginning right through to the end.
Which might mean that this site was important to the Romans all the way through the
Absolutely,
occupation.
that is the picture that's we're building up now, yeah.
How many coins have we found so far, Justin?
30 to 35, I would say.
35 coins, and we're 10 to 6 on day 2. That is not bad, is it?
Excellent.
What is this one? Trying to find the root of the wall in Trench 3, geophysics pull out some really high-tech kit.
Is this one of your more sophisticated techniques, Chris?
I've been training for this one for years, I can tell you. Obviously, I'm just trying to work out where on earth this wall's going to, because in the geophysics and
None
the
of
resistance...
your real equipment is working.
That's it, yeah, thanks very much. But if you listen... Hear that there? We went over there. That was definitely lower.
Oh, right, yes, it did, didn't it?
And
Dropped off.
let's just about, everyone can be a bit quiet for a minute.
Shh.
And you can hear when
Gosh,
we
yes,
come off the edge of it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Is it a good idea trenching on the basis of me slapping the ground?
Look, you're the ones who do the subsoil prospection. I don't mind whether you use incredibly expensive, highly technical equipment or intuition or a pickaxe.
No, I've dripped.
Right, we'll sort that out. We'll scrape that in a minute.
Have you got any more yellow, have you?
Yeah, we've got any more yellow, okay.
Why am I painting on wet plaster then?
Well,
What's
apart from the fact that it's easier to paint on, it makes it permanent because it chemically combines with the lime, so it'll last, you know, hundreds of years.
Yeah, because I mean, this was a terrifically popular way of decorating houses, wasn't it, in
Yes.
Roman times?
You know, a lot of domestic buildings and all sorts of other buildings seem to have been painted, but I mean,
Yeah.
once they were painted, they weren't often needed to be redecorated.
I know, I've
But
nearly
you're
done
doing
that.
very well. I'm quite happy to take you on as an apprentice.
Round about lunchtime today, I was getting really despondent. What I'd hoped would be a fantastic Roman site had come up with virtually no bits of building, and what we had got was really confusing. But then after lunch, we started to come up with some real first-rate archaeology. We've got floors, we've got some lovely bits of painted plaster, and right in the middle of our mysterious mound, we've got the first signs of a massive Roman wall. Let's hope tomorrow we can find out exactly what it is. Mick, beginning of day one, we asked ourselves, is the Roman building on that mound a villa or a temple or a fort?
Yeah.
Now we're at the beginning of day 3 and we're no nearer solving that question.
Yeah, I must confess I've been very worried about that myself. I think today we're going to have to be a bit drastic to crack it.
Good.
And the reason for that is I think that we are still at a high level and we need to know whether there are buried ditches or walls or the trenches where walls have been robbed out next to where we're digging now.
But what will that tell you other than that there are more walls and ditches?
Well, we know that these temples have a fairly regular plan. I mean, they're usually a plan, if I can draw you a sketch, they're usually a plan of a sort of central temple with a walkway or ambulatory round them, so that in section you've got the temple like that with like a sort of veranda. Does that give you a sort of impression like that? Then these are in a big enclosure, a temenos. And in this case, we know we've got the ditch on this side, we think we can see it here, and we've dug it up here. And inside that, there were usually, you know, buildings for the priests and the visitors and workshops and so on, and we've got some of those. So, you know, we really just need to make sure that that big trench of fills is actually the robber trench for the temple. We've got it on this side, we need to look on that side, and we need this long trench on this side to see if we can pick it up there.
So we're putting our money on a temple and putting in the trenches to see whether we're right.
And what I hope to get is some very large, robbed out walls with, you know the pottery, the coins, and so on. And of course, you know, if we've got anything better than that, we'd be really lucky. But you know, that's what we'll do this morning and see how we get on.
If it was a temple on the mound, the evidence of the walls would come from Phil in Trench 1, which it is doing, and Stuart next to him in Trench 4.
I'm thinking, Stuart, we should probably whack down with this trench, you know.
Yeah, OK.
I mean, I think we need to see if there's any ditches and walls in it, really.
Right.
Did this come out of there?
Yeah, just a couple of minutes ago.
You know, it's got letters on it, do you?
I wasn't really looking at it.
Look at that. Victor Carenza.
Whether that's related to that. So yeah, if we had a hang on. Hello, Mick.
Come over to this strange here, Phil.
Come and have a look at this. I don't know, it's just one of those things that happens to us. Stuart's just put this in the fines tray, and I come along and the sun's catching the light on it.
We didn't see it.
The light was catching it when I'm looking in the fines tray.
It's been sitting in the fines tray.
Yes.
Is an
M-I-N-L-I-V.
No, but there's another O in front, look.
And there's another row below that.
Yes, a V, yes.
Lying in the fines tray. Stuart hadn't noticed it.
Right. Lord.
Sun was catching it as I was looking in.
Well done. That's something. That is definitely something.
What do you mean?
What do you mean it's something?
It's very laid back about it.
No, Harvey.
Right.
Harvey, is this pointing more towards it being a temple?
Yes,
that's what I was going to ask.
Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely. Yes, I mean, again, it's very, very rare to get inscriptions in archaeological context. So
lying in the fines tray. What? Stuart busy digging away, and the sun was catching it, and I could see the letters on it. I mean, it helps with the temple hypothesis.
It does.
Would you say this was diagnostic?
I think it's pretty diagnostic. That is,
Can we
yes.
get Guy to have a look at it?
Yeah,
let's
let's get Guy to have a look.
Guy?
Guy!
Quickly, this is brilliant.
Look at that.
Look at that.
Have you any idea how rare this is?
No, tell us.
Britain has produced the smallest number of inscriptions of any other province of the Roman Empire, and in this part of the country there are even fewer. Hardly any turn up now. They're incredibly rare. Down here in southeastern England, there was almost no proper stonework at all. I mean, they had to import everything from other parts of Britain. This is really exceptional.
So what does it say?
Well,
What does it mean?
It says min at the top, I can tell you straight away that obviously that's going to fit into the goddess name Minerva.
Minerva.
Be careful, it might appear in other words as well. What I'm going to suggest is I put all these inscriptions on the computer.
Yeah.
I take this away, I can search all these letter forms, and I should be able to come up with something for you later today.
Do it.
Okay?
Now, do it now.
Don't sell it, whatever you do.
And who found it?
Well, I came along, and Stuart had put it in the fines tray, hadn't noticed the letters, and the sun was raking across it, and so I saw the letters.
It's Stuart's
so
find.
It's Stuart's find, yeah. Man of the match.
At last, this enigmatic site gives up one of its secrets. The mystery is beginning to unfold. The inscription is diagnostic of a temple. Great. But from a handful of letters, can Guy figure out its meaning? And what are the surrounding buildings? Who lived in them? Just how important was this site to Roman Britain?
How come you're that deep and you haven't got a sweat on?
What do you mean I haven't got a sweat on?
Have you got anywhere with it yet?
Hi, Mick. Well, do you remember out on site we were looking at the letters M-I-N and we were speculating it might have been the goddess Minerva, and we all got quite excited, didn't we?
Absolutely, yeah.
I'm sorry to bring you down a bit. Unfortunately, looking through my database, the biggest hit is a different word, but in a way it's really better and more exciting.
Yeah.
It's coming up as Numinibus Augustorum or Numini Augusti.
And what does that mean?
Well, it means the spirit, the deity of the emperors.
So nothing to do with Minerva at all?
Well, Minerva's a possibility,
yeah,
but there are far more of this other text.
Right.
We've also got the second line, I-L-I-U. Now, I've searched that, and I keep coming up with the name Caecilius.
All right, is that a well-known name?
It's a well-known name. There's a lot of people with that name, and I think we've got a C also at the beginning of that line, so that's looking pretty likely.
Right, OK. I'll catch up with you later. You carry
Thanks
on.
a lot.
So what we thought might be the goddess Minerva is more likely to read as the spirits of the emperors. This is every bit as important and still diagnostic of a temple, as the emperors were considered to be gods and worshipped by the Romans. In the park, the plaster prepared, Victor begins the central area of our fresco. Phil, you're coming up with some more finds, aren't you?
Oh, we're getting an amazing amount of painted wall plaster, Tony. Here, have a look at this. I think you'll really like this. What do you think of that for a design? Look at the range of colours on it.
Headley, have you seen this?
Well, you can even see the brush marks.
We're getting some really nice plaster now, with multicolours and,
Look at that.
patterns. That's lovely. Very close to where this came from.
This is what you should be looking at. Look at this.
What we got here.
What's that?
This site gets better and better, doesn't it?
Why?
We got a Roman roof tile here with a stamp PPBR, which is the Roman procurator. I think Harvey should see this, most definitely. Harvey?
Come and have a look at this.
We got a PPBR. Does that mean anything to you?
Wow. Well, welcome to official Roman London. You've actually got a tile here which is stamped the procurator of the province of Britannia. And I think you can just see the edge of the L. Londinium.
What was the procurator?
The procurator was essentially the second most important official to the governor of the province, who handled much of the finance, much of military supplies, much of military transportation.
And what sort of thing was it stamped on?
Basically, these stamps turn up mainly in Londinium, sometimes across the river in Southwark. I don't think there's any other instances of them outside of urban London.
Oh, great.
Basically, what they appear on are public buildings.
Where did you find this, Mick?
It came out of a post hole in 23.
That's that trench over there?
Yeah, the one over there.
Would you have expected to find a stamp like that associated with a temple?
It's certainly possible if it's an official temple. An official temple is one that is paid for essentially by the military administration and presumably used by it. So it could come from the temple. It could also, of course, come from part of a much bigger complex which stands here and which the temple is a part.
Which would be likely to be what?
It would be likely to be some sort of official station along the line of Watling Street, something like a mutatio, a changing station, before you come off the high ground and go down into the ford.
So we could end up here with a fort and a temple?
Well, you could certainly end up with an official complex. Whether or not you could call it a fort, I don't know. But you could end up with something bigger, of which the temple is only a part.
So it's 12, day 3, and predictably the story gets more and more complex.
It does.
Well done, Mick.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
Now go and sort the rest of the site out. Away from all the holes in the ground, Stuart's off on a personal quest to find the root of Watling Street. He's unearthed some 300-year-old documents supporting his theory that the famous Roman road actually cuts through the southeast corner of the park. Although difficult to see to an untrained eye, Stuart thinks he might be onto something.
So have you got the bottom yet, Phil?
We got a superb bottom here, Mick. Look, it's this nice sandy material with big pebbles in it. Beautiful edges, and you can see the nice sequence of fills.
Yeah.
This is all the demolition. We had a lot of building rubble in there.
Right.
And then where it changes to the darker stuff, that was when we were getting a lot more coins in particular.
So the wall ran this way originally?
Unquestionably.
And you've got a slot through it?
We've got a slot across it.
And somebody's dug down and taken all that stone out then?
They've robbed it away.
What's going on in the other trench where Stuart's digging? Does that begin to make sense?
Well, I've been sort of stuck my head down here most of the
come
day,
have a look,
Mick.
see what you think.
Shall I come across? My advance in years mean I don't get out of the trench quite so quick as I used to, Mick. Oh! Oh, look at that.
Yeah, now, are we there yet, Stuart?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. We've got a...
Is that the trench, the wall trench?
That's the cut there. There's the solid blocks in the base.
Yeah.
And you can just see the line of the rubber cut coming up the side here. It's the rubber
And
cut.
look, it's bang on line with where Harvey's trench comes round.
Right.
Look, there it is.
Yeah, the white line.
That white line. So we're bang on line through here.
Straight the way through.
Perfect.
That's cracking, isn't it?
With the inscription, and now the confirmed layout of the walls, we're as certain as you can be in archaeology that on the last high ground before Londinium stood a Roman temple. The other trenches to the south have established what's likely to be a temple terminus wall. And from the finds, we know this wall surrounded official buildings that contained expensive pottery and high-quality painted wall plaster. Not unlike the fresco created by Chris and Victor.
Pretty good, isn't it?
In the incident room, Stuart has a fascinating revelation on the route of Watling Street.
I've been looking at our site in its landscape to try and work out what was going on.
Okay.
This is the landscape as we see it now.
Okay.
This is the temple site here, River Thames, river here. If we get rid of all that modern background and look at it as it might have been in the early Roman period, the River Thames totally different to how we see it now. Our site here, on the edge of this high ground
and
up
the light green's the highest.
Yeah, that's right here. This is the limit of Greenwich Park as we see it now. Now, if you look at the line of Watling Street...
Which is out the A2 coming up from Canterbury. Yeah.
That's right, the Roman road here. Now, what I found in the southeast corner of the park is a raised causeway, 6 metres in width. Exactly the sort of thing you'd expect to find for a Roman road.
You've got Watling Street as a field monument in Greenwich
So
Park.
you can walk over it, you can walk up it, down the other side.
That's incredible.
It's still physically standing, and you can see the continuation of alignment through there. Now, another important aspect of that is a reference I've picked up in 1693, long before it was all developed, describing the route, which describes it coming through the park and then onwards towards the 50 barrows.
These are the Saxon barrows that we know about on the other side
That's
of the
right.
park.
Well, they're just there on the edge of this cut into the escarpment. But if you take that route through, it's a nice route off the escarpment, down that edge there, towards the crossing at Deptford Bridge. So this looks like it's the route of Watling Street, straight down off the high ground.
This is incredible, and it's lovely to see it like this, because up to now we've normally looked for a line on Blackheath because we think of that as the high flat area and because that's where the present A2 runs.
The other interesting aspect is if you look at the line of Watling Street and project it, it goes straight to the temple site. Now, if you can imagine you're coming up Watling Street, on the high ground ahead of you, you see a temple up on the skyline. It's going to be a pretty important feature to visitors coming along here, travellers along here. So the whole aspect of the site is geared to the road and its alignment.
Yeah. So if we've really got Watling Street running through Greenwich Park, it means two things. Firstly, it means there's a major section of a major Roman road protected from development, and it also means we've got a major Roman road that in the fullness of time we can examine archaeologically.
Yeah,
This is
marvellous.
fantastic.
It is. It's just like it's like a time capsule on the meridian, isn't it?
It is, for the Millennium.
This site becomes more and more significant. To gain an impression of what life would have been like here almost 2,000 years ago, Victor enlists the help of Mark Hassel, an expert on Roman temples.
No, I like the way you put those the inscription in on the statue base. That's excellent.
What would have been going on around our temple?
Well, I think there'd been a lot of toing and froing, really. I mean, you can see these people sort of buying and selling. And just as today, you know, you'd have had people selling sort of hot dogs or the Roman equivalent. And the Roman equivalent of hot dogs and hamburgers and ice creams is some oysters. And we've actually found oysters on the site. So, oysters there.
So is this cooking?
Well, in a way, it is cooking. I mean, what they're actually doing is making a sacrifice. They've probably poured a libation, you know, a drink offering, on a little fire that's on this altar here. And you can imagine the wine going like that, and it goes up to heaven. And then they've got a goat, like this one they're bringing in here, and they're going to cut its throat and burn a little bit, and the smoke will go up to the gods again. And then the rest of it, they'll have a sort of barbecue. And some of the rest of it, they may actually look at the entrails, look at the liver, and to try and foretell the future.
And what would have been happening inside the temple?
Well, it's, in a way, what one might draw attention to is what's happening outside. This is what we call the ambulatory. You could walk all the way around that temple, and very often against the walls here you'd get dedications set up to the deity. I'm not quite sure where those inscriptions were found, but if they were in this sort of area, they could have been against the outer wall of this tower-like structure, the Keller.
I think it could well be in the ditch that we think might indicate where the outer wall was. And what would have happened inside it?
Well, I think it would have been a place for quietness. I mean, you would come into the presence of the god, and there would be a sort of feeling of the numinous, you know, a feeling of the mysterious. All this hustle and bustle happening outside.
So basically, around the temple 1800 years ago wouldn't have been very different from how it is now. Lots of curious people.
Very much like today.
Very much like today.
Very much.
Remember the inscription we found this morning? Yeah. And I was working through with Nick on the database earlier on, and I've come up with this, which is a pretty good approximation, I think.
How does our original piece of inscription fit into that?
Put it in. There you are. That's what we found this morning. Now, there are loads and loads of inscriptions in Roman Britain dedicated to the spirit of the emperor. Many of them are preceded by another god, IOM, which might look as if it's meaningless, but actually that stands for Jupiter Optimus Maximus, and it was always abbreviated to IOM in Britain and most other parts of the empire. And Caecilius, that's just the most likely expansion of that bit, and Priscus also. We don't know that that's exactly his name, but it's going to have been somebody has been here, paid for this to be made, a dedication to the god.
And if you were a gambling man, how much money would you put on the original inscription having been that?
It's pretty likely, and it's certainly going to have been something like that.
So our inscription is a dedication by a man who was likely to have been called Lucius Caecilius Priscus to Jupiter Optimus Maximus, Jupiter being the greatest of the gods, and to Numini Augustorum, meaning the spirit of the emperors.
Has the work that we've been able to do here in the last 3 days made a difference to what we know about this site?
Absolutely. As we said on day one, we've got a fantastic understanding of the city of London in the Roman period and Southwark. Apart from that, from Greater London, we've just got these roads. We now have this key site linked to one of those roads and also linked to the city. I think this site is not only important for Greenwich, it's important for London, but also the things we've found make it important for Roman Britain as a whole.
3 days ago, we started with this. A few bits of tesserae glued together with concrete on the top of a small hill. Well, we now know that originally this mound was much bigger than it is today, and that on top of it stood a huge temple which was linked to the main Roman highway into London and was built by order of one of the most important men in Roman Britain. And we know that outside the temple there was a complex of buildings, inside of which were rooms with decorated wall plaster and high-quality Samian ware on the table. But I think for all of us, this inscribed tablet, which we feel confirms this site as a temple, was the most amazing thing to see. It's something that many archaeologists spend a whole lifetime looking for and never find. One of those rare times when we can actually read the words of the past. One Roman's message to his gods. Join Time Team on Patreon to access exclusive 3D models, masterclasses, and behind-the-scenes insights.